We're on Taharot Perek Yud Mishnah Gimel. So we're on the last Mishnah that's going to talk about the processing of olive oil and what you do with Amei Haaretz. So we have the Badadim V'Abotzrim. We have the Badadim, the people who are working on producing the oil, and the Botzrim, and the collectors of grapes. I mentioned before that the Bartanur explains based on the Gemara. I didn't say what it was, but he explains why this list. He says Botzrim, people who pick grapes, sometimes they squeeze the grapes when they're off the vine in order to see if they're ripe or not, to see how much juice is in it or whatever. And that juice stays on the grape. And if that person is tameh, then that's a problem because you want that juice because it's wine and it makes the whole thing tameh. So therefore, when the Badadim, obviously the olive press guys, we know why they had to be tahor. And now that's why the botzrim, the grape pickers also had to be tahor. So what you would do is you would bring them, the guy at the job would bring them first to the mikvah, and then they would go produce the grapes. I think I mentioned this before. In fact, I'm sure I mentioned it before. This is from when we were on a tour recently at Usha. And here's the olive press. Here, the olives were crushed. And it would go from one room into the other. But you can see there's no door here. They didn't want anything going from one to the other. And here's the mikvah that they would make them go into. And here's the doorway. So you had to go out, go to the mikvah. It's like literally right out of the Mishnah. Goosebumps. I happen to love it. Anyway, as long as they go down into the ma'ara, the cave, i.e., when they go down into the mikvah, ma'ara tovlim, but when they're going down into the cave, dayo, that's enough. Divrei Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir says enough. You trust them. You don't have to worry that lo chayshina and shema lo yitbolu. Oh, lo yatbilu akelim v'yomru taval lo yitbani. You don't have to worry that they're lying and saying, no, we went to the mikvah and they didn't really go in. Rabbi Yossi said, Tzarich la'amod aleim ad she'yitbolu. No, you have to actually watch them do it. Rabbi Shimon Omer, im torim lahem. Rabbi Shimon says, no, remember we learned this before. If the thing from their perspective is tahor, kagon kelim shel am haaretz acher. It's like they're using buckets or whatever that belong to another am haaretz from the shebe'eineihem, in their eyes, hem kelim tahorim. They're tahor. Because they're not worried about an amar. It's like we said before. So if it's tahor, then you have to really stand over them and make sure they go to the mikvah and dunk their stuff in the mikvah. But if from their own perspective it's tameh, then you don't have to worry. You don't have to watch them do it. You can assume that since it's tameh for them, they'll be meticulous about dunking as well. We'll stop here dedicated on learning to remember my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Halman. Make it a great day.